Check, check. Check, check. Check. It's okay. What's up, Maurice?
They give you 500 million slides, and they're all surfing accident.
Nah, it's. I have these. I have like a torn ligament. So like, see how my thumb? It needs to be operated on, but it's like 6 months in a cast. So I've been putting it off, but it's been pretty bad the past couple months. So I wear this physio tape to kind of hold it in place.
Just duct tape it. It'll be fine.
What's up, y'all? Anything anybody wants to do today? Postures, body parts? Okay. Yeah, it's happening. It's good. You like the weather? Yeah. All right. Let's shut that air conditioner off then. We're good.
It was 70 when we came in. It was actually cold.
Was it? Yeah, it feels it. It feels a little chilly. You're sweating, I'm sure.
On the right side of the knocks now.
Ugh,
Coming into my time.
gross. Low back, anything else? Yep, okay. All right, take a nice seat, close the eyes, sit up tall. Let's get into it. Let's take a couple breaths. All right, come to this moment. And the easiest way is listen to yourself breathe. Come right to your breath. That one thing you can count on from the moment that you were to the moment you'll be something else, your breath. Feel what's happening with the breath, what the body does. We say our true breath is our exhale. That's the one that we got to really work for. So when we exhale, our diaphragm pushes up, our belly draws in, our ribs compress, and we push the air out. When we inhale, we have a little assist from gravity as it fills an empty cavity. Right? So then your lungs are empty, and then gravity helps kind of pull it back in. That's why one of the cues when we start to get into those refinements in the breath is that we slow down the beginning of the inhale, because it tends to happen real fast. So we want to slow it down. On the exhale, it tends to taper off. So we want to push all the way to the end. And we sharpen up those edges. Lean back a little bit. Feel the muscles up the spine. Feel them engage. Let the head and the throat settle back. The shoulders settle back a little bit. Feel the sit bones root, the outsides of the feet. They're rooting down into the mat. And above the waist, we're lifting. We're feeling the side body start to lengthen, so from hips to armpit. We're feeling the core starting to ignite as it holds us up. From listening to yourself breathe to those little refinements of slowing down the beginning of the inhale and pushing more on the end of the exhale, to counting out your breath so you can create a balanced action. So if the exhale was 2 or 3 seconds, let the inhale be 2 or 3 seconds. And maybe we find Ujjayi breath, where the air begins to rebound off the back of the throat. Next inhale, let the arms lift. The exhale, bring the fingertips and the knuckle pads, the roots, the heels of the hands lightly touch. And one time together to initiate our practice. Together, the sound of Om. All together, deep breath in. We softly bow our head to our hearts, our heads to each other's hearts. Inhale, lift the head, open the eyes, release the hands. All right, let's start out in child's pose. We'll get right into those QLs and that low back. So we're going toes, big toes are touching at the midline. Knees are wide to the edges of the mat. Arms are up overhead. Push the hands down and forward, and it's going to push your butt back towards your heels. We want the sit bones to root down towards the heels, and we're going to try to hold them there. That's going to be below the waist. Now we're going to start to breathe above the waist. Take a nice inhale. Feel those side bodies starting to lengthen out. So from hips to armpit. Feel the energy through the arms. That little hug in. And then on the exhale, soften the chest down towards the mat a little bit. Slide your forehead off the mat. You're going to feel some work happening between the shoulder blades a little bit more from your head to your butt, so extending your spine, not retracting your shoulder blades. And then soften your chest down a little bit more. Feel that nice stretch now come up the arms, the chest a little bit, lats, side bodies, intercostals, tons of muscles. And then as you look forward, walk your hands towards the right side. When you push the hands down and forward, root that left sit bone to the left heel, and then breathe up the left side body. Keep splitting that energy, though. Rooting down into the heels and then breathing above. Next inhale, come back to center. Soften down the middle, and when you're ready, walk your hands towards the left. And then root that left sit bone to the left heel, and then start to breathe up that left side body, that right side body, up the right side of the spine. And then inhale, come back to center, soften down the middle. Next inhale, come up, all fours, hands and knees. Hands an inch or two in front of your shoulders, knees an inch or two behind your hips. Spread your fingers. Curl your toes, sweep your inner heels out, hug your shins in, start energizing the legs. Pull your heels to your butt to your heels. Upper body, like arms, hug your hands into the midline, forearms to the midline. Squeeze those biceps. Core, belly to spine, shutters are closed. Slide the head into throat back. And now breathe, low mountain. And then when you're ready, work those oscillating cat-cow. So inhale, take the hips up, back, and around. And then you can bring them forward and under. Take them up and around. You can look up. Bring them forward and under. Let's do 5 one way. And then we'll do 5 the other. Starts moving those lumbar vertebrae in all their movements, their motions. After your 5, come to neutral, and then you'll work side 2. Stay with the breath. One more for me, wherever you're at. When you're done with your 5, come to that neutral position. Find that flat back. That's where we'll meet. Take a couple breaths. Walk the knees back. Then reach the right leg,
Back, ball of the foot on the floor. Upper body strong. We're pushing down, right? We're going to push. Lower body, we're engaged, but now we're reaching from the hip, down the back of the leg, and out of the bottom of the heel. Exhale, lower. Take the left leg back. The heel is going to try to fall into the midline. Keep sweeping the inner heel out so it points straight up to the sky. And as you reach out of the back heel, reach forward out of the crown of the head. Even breathe and expand side to side. Exhale, lower the knee. Walk the knees back in, all fours. Tiger pose. Inhale, take the heel to the sky, like you're holding the ceiling up with your heel. Exhale, bring your knee to your chin or your chest. Inhale, take the heel to the sky. Maybe look up. Exhale, bring the knee to the chin or the chest. Let's do 5. So that's 2. When your knee comes through, it should like just scrape the mat. That way we don't peel away from the inside of that left hip. Keep sweeping that inner heel out as you take the heel to the sky. And then after your 5, lower that right knee down. Make sure it's hips width apart because we try to like bring it to the midline. And when you're ready, side 2. Now we're working some of those spinal erectors. We're getting good extension out of our hip, but we're working some of these low spinal erectors. As we take them through their full range of motion, that helps these muscles release. Any muscle that you take through its full range of motion, right? We're going to start to clear it. And then after that 5th one, come to neutral. As you keep letting the muscle shorten and lengthen, right, it starts to release itself out a little bit. Take a couple breaths, step back to plank. And then downward dog. First downward dog, you could bend the knees if that feels good. You could swivel, pedal, wiggle, whatever feels good to you. If you want to straighten your legs, keep the engagement first. Then start to stretch, just like we did before, from the hip down the back of the leg and out of the bottom of the heel. So think more like towards the midfoot. Keep pushing your hands down and forward. Keep the forearms lifting up and the inner biceps lifting up, and then take your chest back towards your toenails. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Take 3 nice breaths. So you can stay low here. You can come up a little bit, whatever your flavor is going to be, whatever feels good to you. But everybody, shoulders back and down away from your ears. When you're ready, lower your chest. Push up through plank. Back to downward dog. Don't let your chin fall to the midline. Slide your throat towards like the front where the ceiling and the wall are meeting. The visual will be your cheeks or your ears will ears will be in line with your biceps. If it feels good to straighten the legs, work to straighten the legs. If it feels good to keep the knees bent, work with the knees bent. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Take 3 nice breaths. Back of the heart, working forward out of the front of the chest. After your 3 breaths, back to chaturanga or lower your chest. Push up through plank. Back to downward dog. Look forward. Bend your knees, step or jump between your hands, swing your arms up. Exhale the arms by the side. Inhale, take them up. Exhale by the side. Keep it going. This time as the arms come up, let that right hand grab the left wrist. The inhale peels up. The exhale takes the side bend. Keep the heels heavy. Keep the inner thighs back. Sacrum back. Belly in, shutters closed. Head and throat back, arms back. Inhale, come up. Exhale, the hands by the side. Inhale, take them up.
Mountain pose here. Everything else in your body, super strong, right? We're holding this. You can see lots of fire, right, in my foundation. On your third one, as the arms come up, left hand grabs right wrist, the inhale goes up, the exhale goes a little bit into that side bend. Now root down into your right heel. That's below the waist. Now peel above. Yeah, now go a little deeper in the side bend. Now do that again. Root down into the right heel. Breathe above the waist to make some space, and then side bend goes a little deeper. Inhale, come up. Exhale, the hands to the tops of the thighs. Sit back. We're trying to persuade a little space right here in the hip crease, right? We get a lot of attachments right here at the hip, at that hip bone. So we're trying to just persuade a little space here. Pull the belly in, pull the shutters closed. If you're not sure what the shutters are, right here. Shutters want to blow open, you got to close them. Push down, rise up, swing the arms up. Pull the belly in, lengthen those sit bones down. That's how you protect the low back. Now root down and breathe up through your, like all the way through your thumbs. Now curl back in the pose a little bit. Feel that peel come up from the pubic bone, abdominal wall, your chest, your neck, your arms, up and out of the crown of the head. Inhale, come up. Exhale, fold.
Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, place the hands, step the right leg back, lunge.
Fingertips are blocks. Give yourself some space. Spine is neutral here. So if this is happening,
We want to be lifted up a little bit.
if you can hold that space and the spine's neutral, right, go for it. But if you feel like it's rounding your back in any way, then we don't want that, right? We're not trying to reinforce this. We're trying to reinforce this, that neutral position. Now keep pushing down. Keep hugging in so you're pulling the front heel back and the back toes forward. You're hugging the shins into the midline even though they're not next to each other. Pull the pelvic floor up. Belly. Shutters closed. Heart reaches out. Throat's back. Gaze is out in front of you. Reach through the crown of the head. Inhale, come up. Virabhadrasana, one crescent. So crescent keeps the back, low back safe. Keep sweeping that inner heel out. Bring that right hip forward a little bit. Pull that pelvic floor up again. Pull that belly in. Pull those shutters closed. Work those chakras right up through the crown. And then maybe you could play with curling back a little bit. Feel the big opener in the front of that right thigh. One more breath. Exhale the hands down. Step forward.
Keep the knees bent. Reach the left leg back. So reach out of your heel like you're extending that hip. And then find your space. You can change, right? You could start on the blocks, and then after a couple breaths, you can lower down if you can hold that space. If you feel like you need, remember, these are progressions to your practice, right? Not regressions. The more we use our tools, the better pose we're going to get. Now keep pushing down and keep pulling like you're on a sheet of ice. Your feet want to splay. You got to keep hugging in. Even though your shins aren't next to each other, you're hugging shins into the midline. All right, get ready. Keep pushing down. Here we go. Inhale, come up. Virabhadrasana, one crescent. This hip's going to try to peel out. So I got to keep bringing that left hip forward and down like I'm hugging to the inside of my right thigh. Then pull up again from that pelvic floor. Go beyond your crown. Go up through your thumbs. You're going to ignite the arms. Now you can curl back in the pose. Big opener on the front of that left thigh. Reach the heel back. One more breath. Exhale the hands down. Step forward. Swing the arms up. Big reach. Draw the belly. Lengthen those sit bones. Maybe curl back in it. If you want to stay up straight, stay up straight. Inhale, come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Half fold, Uttanasana A. So balance the weight in the feet. Front to back, it's heel to the ball of your foot. Inner and outer edge, we're all going to lift the inner arches up, and we're going to bring a little weight to the outer edge of the foot. But there's a visual. You want the center of your ankle in line with your second toe. So you could see if you let your arch collapse, it lines up with like the inside of your big toe. If your arch is ignited, it lines up with that second toe. Now pull that energy up the legs. As you keep looking forward, drag your fingers back towards your toes. That's what pulls your spine forward. Now go ahead and fold nice and deep in the posture. You can do it again. You can inhale, look forward. You can climb that spine and then go ahead and fold in the pose. Or you can hold that half fold. Whatever feels good to you. Sit back as the knees bend, swing the arms up, big reach. Exhale, right hand behind your back, left hand to your elbow. Now keep those heels heavy, keep those inner thighs back, keep the sacrum back. Here's your sacrum, top of your pelvis. It wants to do this. And then we cram in that lumbar spine, that low back. Sacrum this way. You might lean forward that little bit, that's okay. Maybe draw the fingers up a little bit, intensify that stretch through the tricep. Exhale, release, inhale the arms up. Exhale, left hand behind, right hand to your elbow. Hinging, like being in a hip hinge where you're leaning forward here, is a better look than this. This is one of our misalignments. We want to be this way. Then when we push our head back into our forearm, we could use that little bit of force feedback to hold this space, but still be able to lift up nice and tall through the spine. And then exhale, release, inhale the arms up, exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, place the hands, step or jump back, downward dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Work on your breath, not my voice. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, baby cobra. Exhale, lower back to chaturanga, or lower your chest. Push up through plank, back to downward dog 2 more times. Flow through a little bit. Stay with your breath. We'll meet back in downward dog. Nice, y'all. Reach the right leg straight back, step it through. Lunge. Walk your hands to the inside of your right foot, spin your back heel down. Have your front heel in line with your back arch. Now stick your butt back on the left side and root this left thigh back. Now climb your right elbow to your knee. Yep, bring your left arm in front, plug it in, sweep the bicep up along the cheek. Utthita Parsvakonasana. Now we're rooting that left thigh back. We actually took a little more intention today to putting it in its place. It's going to try to come forward, so we really rooted it back. Now start opening up that right side body so you can then sweep that right sit bone down to that right heel. And there's where the knee starts peeling out. Or sweep the heel to the left and the knee will start opening out to the right. Hand down to the block or the floor if you want to extend the pose a little bit. You could even pull the belly in, pull the shutters closed. Rotate the top of the ribs back, the bottom of the ribs forward. Push into that front heel. Inhale, come up. Warrior 2. Hands behind the back, interlace the fingers. Bow to the inside of that right thigh, humble warrior. Keep looking forward to the front left corner of your mat. Maybe reach the arms up overhead a little bit here. Intensify that stretch. Exhale the hands down to the floor. Spin that back heel up. Downward dog. Move through one vinyasa. Reach the left leg straight back. Step it through. Lunge. Now walk your hands to the inside of that left foot. Spin your right heel down. Stick your butt back on the right side. Then climb the left elbow to that left knee. The right arm plugs in. Sweep the bicep up along the cheek. Pull the belly button in. Yeah. That's how you start to open up the hip flexors in this pose. For a lot of us, right, it's pulling us forward. That's what's doing it. So when you pull the belly button in, you start to neutralize the pelvis a little more. Then when you open up the left side body, you can start lengthening the sit bone down. Remember, the right sit bone was reaching back to the wall behind you. The left one was lengthening down. Then we start to rotate open. We play with the pose. Maybe we look up and we breathe. And then push into your front heel. Inhale, come up into that warrior two. If your left pinky was under last time, right pinky this time. Then bow to the inside of that left thigh. Look to the front right corner of the mat. That way the spine stays nice and long here. And then as you take the arms up overhead, you're intensifying that stretch a little bit. One more breath. Then control it as the hands go down to the floor. Spin that back heel up. Downward dog. Work through one vinyasa. Nice, girl. Stay with your breath. Breathe. Keep pushing your hands down and forward. Keep your chest working back towards your toenails. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, back to downward dog. Inhale, come forward to plank. Exhale, back to downward dog. We'll do 5. Go slow here. Stay with your breath. Drive into that plank so you don't lose the head of the arm bones rooting into the sockets. We don't want to round the upper back. We want to stay neutral. And then after your last one, lower the knees. Sit back on your heels. Vajrasana, child's pose, grab a drink, wipe your face, whatever feels good to you. Vajrasana is here as we sit back on our heels. This can be a little intense for us, right? We don't want to bear the weight down into it. Keep hugging the shins in and then settle the weight into it. And then inhale, come up. Exhale, hands down, all fours. Turn those hands out while we're here. We'll get our little forearm stretch. Belly in. Shutters closed. You hear me say that shit every single pose, right? And you know it's not because I don't have anything else to say. It's because that's just what happens, right? That's one of those elements that we always got to check in on. Inhale, unwind, sit back on your heels, give that little stretch, that little spin here as you feel the stretch. And then inhale, come up, exhale, hands down. Take a couple breaths. Step back to plank. Your shoulders are on top of your wrist crease, and you're reaching out of your heels. Your hips are lifted up, not like this. Up here. Just like that's too much. All right? That's not enough. We got to find that sweet spot. Pull your belly to your spine and pull your shutters closed. Lengthen your sit bones towards your heels just a little bit. Keep pushing down. Keep hugging the forearms in. You want to play a little bit? Lift your right heel off the floor. Lower it down. Lift the left one off the floor. Don't lose that belly. Don't lose those shudders. Lower that left one down. Breathe. Exhale, lower your knees. Hero's pose. That went well. It's just what we do, right? So when you sit back between your heels, you want to push those two calf muscles out, right? So you're bisecting the calf a little bit. And you unsickle your feet, like turn them out a little. And then you'll start to feel your sit bones will settle a little more. Now the space between our knees will all be different, but the outsides of our shins will all be parallel with the sides of our mat. Now your knees are going to try to splay here. They're going to try to do this. You got to keep hugging in this way. So keep adducting into the midline. Now here we're stretching the quads on the bottom, right? But we got to get rectus femoris, which is the one that's going to flex the hip. So if we take our hands behind us and we just take the hip crease from flexion to extension, we're opening that up, right? So here's where you could be. Now, I know some of y'all lay back. Now, this is kind of like an early quad stretch for us, so it might be a little more challenging for some of us, but play with what feels good to you. There's a trick here to going back. Okay, so on an inhale, you're going to push down and you're going to breathe up above your waist. Then on the exhale, you're going to go belly to spine, sit bones to the backs of the knees, or pubic bone or junk to the ceiling, however you want to think about it. It's going to puff up your low back and you're going to be able to lay back. Then you're going to do that again. Big inhale. Exhales belly to spine, sit bones to the backs of the knees, or pubic bone to the ceiling. You could lay back a little bit more. Keep working that with each breath. It might take you 10 breaths. It is what it is, right? It's what your practice is asking from you today. Don't let those knees splay. Keep hugging them in. Keep working the pelvis. So the belly button's to the spine and the sit bones are to the backs of the knees, or the pubic bone to the ceiling, whatever, front or back, however you're thinking of your pelvis. A couple more breaths. When you inhale, come up nice and tall. Yep, big and tall here. And then exhale the hands down. And just reach one leg back. Open up the knees and the hip. Belly to spine. Lower it down. Take that left leg back. Lower it down. Take your right leg, cross it over your left. Take your feet apart. Sit back between your heels. Reach down to your left sit bone, pull it back and out. And then same thing to the right. You could even turn the thigh in that little bit. Sit up nice and tall. Some of you are going to want to stay here. You could even take the hands out to the side, and you can start to hinge at the hip crease. So we're in the back of the hip a little deeper. But look what happens when I lower. My chest goes first. This wants to happen like everybody, right? You got to go like throat back as the chest is moving forward. Some of you want to hit Gomukhasana. Left arm, plug, reach between your shoulder blades. Right hand, fingernails forward. Wiggle your hand up your back. Or drop your strap from your left hand into your right. Root down into your sit bones and into the outsides of your feet. Then breathe up above your waist. Yep. One more breath. Watch the boing as you release. I showed you all the breakdance move the other day. So if you're going to breakdance move, if you're going to switch your legs, you're going to switch them. If you're going to breakdance move, you're going to lift up. You're going to spin around. You don't move your feet. You just spin right around. And bloop, right inside too. I heard breaking isn't making it back to the next Olympics.
It was bad.
That Australian routine was really good.
I feel sorry for her. She did it on purpose. I know. But
She's internationally known right now.
you know? She got paid for her trip with us.
I just think when you add something that shouldn't have rules, make it full of rules, it ruins it.
That's most sports that are judged, right?
Yeah, like when you start judging something,
Yeah, definitely.
maybe that was her point.
I don't know the story. Was she doing that on purpose?
Yeah.
Like trying to be silly on purpose?
It's
Or
unclear. No, I mean, she's a cultural studies professor. Yeah,
Gamakasana, if you want side too.
She said there was no, she's 36, she said there's no way that she could win on the, the move, so she tried to create a character that was her own character.
Success.
She got 0 bragging, 0.
Zero?
She did get a 0.
I said I wasn't going to watch, and I didn't. I just happened to see a couple clips, which is how I know what's happening here. A couple more breaths. And then watch the arms as you release. Then unwind that top leg. And then one more time, we're just going to open up the knees and the hips from that seated position. Yep, just reach back. Swap after a couple breaths here. Belly to spine. See, if you lose your belly button, that's going to take the pelvis in the wrong direction. And then things that we're doing are not going to be efficient, right, or optimal. Lower that side 2 down. Take your feet wide. Come back into squat pose. Malasana. So if your heels don't touch, just roll up the mat or the blanket, bring it behind you. Been working on this with y'all, all right? Crow. So if you want to hold Malasana here, the stretch here is the groins and the inner thighs. We want to hug in, then we want to push our elbows away to stretch. Pull that pelvic floor up, don't want to just hang there. Yep, pull that belly button in. Drive your elbows down into your knees, and it'll feel like your spine starts to reignite here. Yep, keep pushing those elbows away. Now, if you want to stay here, stay here. If you want to work crow, you're going to lift your hips up and you're going to place your hands down. Your knees from Malasana are on the outside of your arms. That's how I do my crow. But if you're new to crow, you can stack your knees on the backs of your arms, which will make the pose a little more accessible. Then walk your feet together so your big toe mounds are touching. Then look forward. And as you look forward, you're going to start driving the weight into the fingertips and the knuckle pads. That's when your feet are going to get light. As you push your hands down, pull your heels to your butt. And breathe. Yeah, nice, y'all. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Let's meet in downward dog. So actually lower your knees for a quick second. I'll show y'all. So I've done this with most of y'all. I've offered this. If you want to play with it, you can play with alternating the side plank. All right, so we'll move back and forth. We make it a little more dynamic. We're going to challenge the core in a different way. If you want to hold static, I'll just bring you out of that side 1, and then you can work your side 2. Okay, so it will look like this. I'm going to work from my downward dog. The reason that we go to side plank from downward dog is because the hips are up. It's more challenging to go to side plank from here because you got to be able to hold your hips up, right? So when you're in downward dog, they're already lifted. So that's what makes it a little more accessible. So you'll be here in downward dog. You'd roll to the outside of the one foot. Now the other foot could stay in, it could stack. I'm going to look up. Then I'm going to come back to center, and I'm going to swap over into side 2. So what I got to do here is
The work is going to be accelerating, right, starting, decelerating, stopping, and then stabilizing, right, when I'm my movements. That's going to be the big work. So if you want to try that, we'll go through. We'll do like 10, and then I'll call on the 5th one. I'll say if you're holding one side, switch to side 2, and then you can switch to side 2 if you're going to hold one side. Okay, if you're going to alternate, we'll just do the 10, and then we'll all kind of be pretty close to one another. Want to give it a try? All right, inhale, come up, exhale, hands down, all fours, then make your way back, downward dog. Now just pedal, swivel, wiggle a little bit, get the engine running again. And then come to neutral. All right, here we go. Roll to the outside of the right foot, stack the left foot on top or in front. Now you can hold here, turn the bicep forward, push out of the big toe mounds. If you're alternating, go ahead and alternate. If you're holding, hold. And then I'll call you as I hit my 5th one to swap into side 2. Play wherever feels good to you. Stay with your breath. If you're holding, get ready to switch to side 2. If you're alternating, stay with it. Keep pushing down into the thumb and the pointer finger side of the hand. That's the inner edge. Because you're going to want to roll to the outer edge, so you got to balance that energy out. I think I'm on my last one here. If you're holding, inhale, come back to center. Push back to downward dog. If you're alternating, when you balance both sides out, meet back in downward dog. And then lower your knees. How'd that go? We don't do that like often, but we do it kind of regularly, right? We get it in there. Makes sense how you got to start and stop your body, right? It's a whole different game. Okay, grab your mats, find a spot on the wall. We'll go upside down. Want to save a couple minutes for that seated Janu Sirsasana posture. If you're at home, you don't have the wall to kick up on, you can always lay on your back. Knees will be bent, feet on the floor. And then interlace your hands behind your thighs. You reach your heel to the sky, take a bunch of breaths, and then you can swap into side 2. If you are at home or in the studio, it's not your day to invert, you can always lay legs up the wall or do a pose that feels good to you. I'll talk everyone into downward dog and L pose. Those of you that want to work your handstands or your headstands or your tripods, anything you want to play with, feel free to work on those on your own, okay? So if you're going to work on your own, whenever you're ready. If you're going to stick with me, for downward dog and L pose, we want to meet all fours, hands and knees, feet are touching the wall. And we're going to take a couple breaths, build up that low mountain, right? Get it nice and solid. When you're ready, lift the knees and the hips, step one foot up the wall, and then the second foot up the wall. If your knees are bent, you're in downward dog inverted. If your legs are straight, you're in L pose. Go ahead, back wall. Woo. Nice, y'all. Beautiful, crew. We'll be here for, a good minute and a half still, so take your time. Play around. If you come down and you want to rest and then go back up, feel free. So think about what we do in our inversions, right? And everything flips upside down. It's decompression, right? In a different way. We're stacking the body upside down.
About 30 seconds.
If you're inverted out, you can always meet on your backs, lay on your backs for a couple breaths.
Awesome, crew. So let's meet on our backs.
So since we're talking about low back stuff today, supported bridge shows you how you should be holding your pelvis, right? So if you take the block, we tend to go low and medium. I know some of y'all go high on the block, all right? So if you're new to this, just work the low and the medium at first. Your sacrum is that solid part on your pelvis. Where your crack is too low, where your lumbar spine is too high. You want that solid part on your pelvis. So I'm going to take the block and put it right underneath there. And what it's going to feel like is now my belly button can't fall to the floor. It's kind of holding that space, right? Or I'm sorry, my belly button can't fly to the sky. It's actually, as I draw it to my spine, I could even feel the space held even tighter, right? Instead of it just like me having to hold everything up, I have some support. So I could start feeling things, the actions that happen a little bit easier. Now this keeps the low back safe because it doesn't let your sit bones fall and the belly go to the sky. You're able to hold it, belly button to spine, sit bones to the backs of your knees. Now, if you want to stay here and just take your shoulders under a little bit, this is an awesome place to stay. I've told y'all before, when I need my deepest back bend, it's not wheel. It's not walking down the wall. It's supported bridge. That's what cracks me open the deepest. So you got to find what you want in the pose. Now, if you want to work your bridge or your wheel, remove the block. We'll lower the sacrum back down to the floor and we'll start neutral. But now you have the feeling of what should be happening. What's the action that should be happening? So right away, you feel like your belly wants to go to the sky. You got to bring your belly button to your spine. Then you feel the sacrum root. You feel the legs charge up. You feel the core ignite. Your head and shoulders are back. You could even bend your elbows like robot. Give yourself a little more support. Now when you're ready, slowly lift your hips. Come to bridge. Now pretend that block is underneath there and it's holding you up. But feel what the action was. It was belly button to spine. It was sit bones to the backs of the knees a little bit. Take the shoulders under a little further. Feel that back bend happening under your shoulder blades. That's where back bend should happen, not in your lumbar spine. That's why it's so important to keep that belly button in and those shutters closed and those sit bones lengthening behind the knees. Maybe go a little bit deeper in the bridge. Wiggle the shoulders under even a little bit further. As the knees reach forward, let the upper palate of the mouth reach back. One more breath. And then slowly lower down. See if you get that sacrum to land flat. Take the feet wide, let the knees touch. Hands to cactus or field goal. Now on this last one, I'll talk you into bridge if you wheel if you want to go to wheel. First bridge, then wheel. So play wherever feels good to you. If you're doing supported bridge, awesome. All right, stay there, wherever you want to play. All right, inhale, open the knees, reset the feet. Bring the arms along the sides. Start with that neutral pelvis. Head and shoulders are back. Legs and hips engaged, belly's engaged. Lift the hips, come to bridge. If you want to go wheel, place your hands wide to the edges of your mat. You're going to plug those shoulders back. Push down to come up. Keep your inner heels sweeping out. Pump your heart towards the wall that you're looking at. One more breath. And then stay engaged as you lower down. See if you get that sacrum to land flat. Take the feet wide, let the knees touch. Hands to cactus or field goal. And then open the knees, windshield wiper side to side.
You balance both sides out, come to neutral. Knees are bent, feet are on the floor. Bring the right leg up, cross it over the left. Take the hips over to the right a little bit as the knees settle to the left. The right shoulder stays rooted down. Keep the spine long by controlling that belly button to the spine and keeping those shutters closed. That way we rotate the spine. We don't just manipulate those ribs out. You'll know I talk about that one all the time in a twist, right? Make sure you're not just manipulating the ribs or you're hammering the scapula to the midline, to the spine. You want to rotate the spine. Inhale, come back to center. Unwind the legs. Scooch back to center. Take the left leg up, cross it over. Hips go to the left as the knees settle to the right. Left shoulder stays rooted. Stay connected with the belly and the shutters. Stay tall through the side bodies from hips to armpit. Inhale, come back to center. Unwind the legs. Take the arms up overhead, reach the legs out straight. Take a big stretch. Hug your knees to your chest. Rock yourself up. So you could face forward. It'll help keep your feet on your mat a little bit too. I always start this neutral, wide. Okay, so you're going to start with legs wide. Then you're going to bend your right leg. Bring your heel to either your pubic bone or the inside of your thigh. The inside of your thigh will be more accessible. Your pubic bone will be more challenging. You could take the sit bone out or turn the thigh in on this bent leg. On this straight leg, we want the toes to be pointing straight up to the sky. Root down into your sit bones. Try to get the back of this left thigh rooted to the floor. Keep pushing down into the heel. Inhale the arms up. Rotate towards that left leg, fold to the inside of the leg. Now, the little trick here to get to that QL even a little bit deeper is kind of like you're going towards the twist. So you take your right hand and you bring your palm forward so your thumb is down and you go to the pinky toe side of your foot. This would be the twist, right? But we're not going to twist. We're just going to hold here. Right here is the muscle that we're opening up. Okay, this QL, right low on that right side of your back, low, just above your pelvis. Now gently, like you're pushing on a gas pedal, push that foot forward, and right here peels open. And you get this nice peel right up in here. One more breath. And inhale, come up nice and tall. Exhale, the hands in front. Start wide. And then swap into side two. See, this wants to happen, right? That's why we turn that thigh, rotate it in, get everything to stay nice and straight up. And then when you're ready, inhale the arms up, rotate towards that right leg, fold down the inside of the thigh. Your strap would be your friend, right, for sure. And then that little trick was I take my left hand, I turn that palm forward. So I actually go internal rotation of my arm, and I take it to the pinky toe side of the foot. And then I gently persuade forward. And then I'm right here. So I'm getting that nice stretch out. In the low back. We're getting stretches a lot of other places, but that's when we're talking about low back today. That's kind of where we're at. And then inhale, come up nice and tall. Exhale, hands in front. Take the legs out, then bring them to the center. Then lay flat back. Take the arms up overhead. Take a big stretch here. Spread the fingers, spread the toes, pull that belly to the spine. Lengthen those sit bones towards the backs of your knees. And feel that lumbar nice and solid. Then hug those knees to your chest. Take those knees wide, come to happy baby.
You can rock side to side. You can reach one leg out, both legs out, whatever feels good. And when you're ready, inhale the knees to center. Exhale the legs out straight. We'll take Shavasana. Beautiful practice, crew. Feel free to add or remove layers or props. I'll talk everyone through laying flat. For the lumbar spine, if you lift up the fleshiness of your butt and just push it down towards your heels, when you put back your butt back down on the floor, there'll be this nice settling over the pelvis and the lumbar spine. Let the legs stretch out and the feet gently roll open. Bring the arms along the sides. Let the shoulders settle back as the palms turn open to the sky. Let your head rest back. Maybe let your eyes close and allow the tongue to soften from the roof of the mouth. Let the body get heavy. Let the mind soften as it turns back to the breath. And the heart opens. The work now is to let go. To let the skin lay on the muscles and the muscles on the bones down into the yoga mat down into the earth. Each exhale clearing and removing and make space. As the inhale draws something new, the change. Begin here to draw in a deeper breath. Feeling the breath as it washes over the body. Your toes to your fingers, to the crown of your head, to your heart, as we reawaken those better versions of ourselves. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Move the arms and the legs. Or move in a way that feels good to you. Taking your time, moving consciously, aware of everything. You're ready, you can hug your knees to your chest. Just roll to the right side. Push your hands down, come up to a seated position. We'll meet together with our eyes closed and our hands in front of our hearts. One more time to seal in our practice, our time together with our Kula, our yoga family. Together the sound of Om, all together. Deep breath in. Beautiful. As we softly bow our head to our hearts, our heads to each other's hearts. For all of that hard work, that determination, that challenge, the love and the support you always give each other, it's to you that I bow. Namaste. Thanks, crew. Good to see everyone. Super fun as always. You know, if you have any questions, grab me before you go. Something feels weird, definitely get me before you go. I'll see some of y'all tomorrow. I'm not here on Saturday. Trina will be here, so you'll be in good hands. And then I'll see y'all next week. Thanks, crew. Lighter note, I have Phillies tickets for August 26th, if anyone's interested. It's against the Astros. It's a Monday night. My package is 4 tickets and a parking permit, premium. And if you don't know where my seats are, they're 12 rows off the third base dugout. Baller. Section 129. Only because my boy who's a baller hooked me up. That's how I got in.